can a well-ordered, high-trust society fall into the peril of official corruption? This question might seem provocative, and for good reason. It's an issue that becomes increasingly relevant as we navigate the complexities of our modern world. The answer, quite simply, is yes. And the main peril lies in the misuse of power and trust by those in authority. This becomes particularly evident when we consider the controversial topic of the COVID vaccine mandate. You see, the Nuremberg Code, while not part of our criminal legal framework, informs the lens through which law enforcement and all public services view medical experiments. It is always wrong, always illegal, to force an individual to participate in a medical experiment. Yet, when we consider the COVID vaccine mandate, it becomes clear that this ethical line was crossed. Public officials were not entrusted to stockpile any genetic material in advance of a mandated medical experiment. Yet they did, and this in itself is a breach of trust. But the breach doesn't stop there. The Oakes test was not applied to the emergency declaration that mandated these medical experiments. This means that public workers injected experimental genetic material into fellow citizens' bodies without the necessary legal and ethical checks in place. When this involves injecting infants and pregnant women with experimental genetic material, it can reasonably be described as genocidal activity. So you see, the peril of a well-ordered, high-trust society is not just official corruption. It's the erosion of public trust, the blurring of ethical and moral lines, and the potential for mass harm. Yet, there are challenges in promoting this understanding. Many people struggle to distinguish between ethics and morality. They may view the established hierarchy as legitimate, even when it is built on violence and deception. Astute political theorists can see that the COVID pandemic exercise was a large-scale transnational fraud. It involved not just criminal financial activity, but mass assaults and genocidal levels of death. And yet, many in the upper echelons of safety do not fully understand this. There are, however, intelligent outliers in both the private and public sector who can articulate why the imposition of a COVID vaccine mandate was not only immoral, but wholly illegal. When you have this level of corruption, every act of those involved elicits a high degree of distrust. If public officials act criminally and are not arrested, public trust is further eroded. This, in itself, is a legitimate national emergency. So, where does this leave us? It leaves us with a call to action, a call to stay informed, a call to remain vigilant against official corruption. Because in a well-ordered, high-trust society, the greatest peril is not external threats, but the internal erosion of trust, morality, and the rule of law. And this is a peril we must all strive to combat.